Hello everyone, I'm Nukon, and I've recently experienced cancel culture in the TrackMania community. A streamer by the name of Allan got banned from participating in big number of streams and Discord channels. A lot of people seem to be aware and listed political reasons and false accusations to keep Allan out, while others were not aware of this ban that was enforced by ideological mods. I didn't want to make this video, but this kind of behavior should not become normal. Allan is a streamer I watch a lot, and because of the broad scope of these bans, it also destroys his chance to grow, because it keeps him from communities that he can connect with. I do want to ask to not seek contact with the people discussed in this video. I want to highlight an issue and not start a witch hunt. With that out of the way, let's get to the subject. Allan knockouts, R-word edition. The reason I use the R word instead of the actual word is because
I don't think it's a word I can even say on stream.
Allan has a series of knockouts matches hosted on Friday nights in Central Europe, where he uses provocative titles for his videos. These range from innocuous ones like Pretty Good and Dolphy Rainbow Edition, but also more provocative ones like Cracked Up and Operation Paperclip Edition. And on the 29th of January, he had the R-word edition. This video would lay dormant for at least 4 months. NachoQT visits Allan stream. On the 2nd of June, NachoQT came to Allan stream. This person asked why people were watching someone with ideas that do not align with theirs. Allan responded,
"If I would be brainwashed and had a pride flag and cheering for the corrupt Biden administration, why would you watch me then?"
NachoQT proceeded to see this as homophobia. This person then went to Twitter and proclaimed that this person was being homophobic. This person also responded this to a previous tweet from the same day, being offended by the R-word edition. I do not want to mention that this person literally asked, why is this man welcome in this community? Allan leaves the Evo server. Because of the ideological stance of Evo with the Pride event, Allan left the server. He left a message explaining going his own way for the server, getting political. Not much more happened with that until Allan gets banned everywhere. In quick succession, Allan was banned from a lot of the TrackMania community. This ranged from small streamers that were ideologically driven in their ban, to big streamers that didn't even recognize him. The most shocking part, in my opinion, was that there were also small streamers that were not aware what was going on, and some mod had banned him. Apparently, mods were banning him in other people's streams. Contacting people that banned Allan. When I got aware of the scope of the problem, I decided to reach out to a significant portion of the people involved in this banning, and most responded. Let's start with the most reasonable response I got. Some streamers responded with naming the mod that got Allan banned, and this has helped me with my research, and I'm really grateful for that. The next most reasonable response was far more common, that a mod had banned Allan and that the streamer would just trust the mods for this judgment. There were also some people that reacted with political reasons, like supporting Trump and supposedly war and vaccination status. People went as far as calling it dangerous misinformation. But how does that work? Is Allan now a credible source of information for the watchers? Some even said that he was a far-right extremist and a World War II supporter. Clearly some people didn't want Allan to be part of the community. About Trump, war with Russia and vaccination. To get a better view of this situation, I have to talk about politics. Skip to the timestamp to skip this part of the video. Trump was the president of the USA. Besides having the establishment against him before, during and after his presidency, He has done some very bad stuff against the climate, but on many other issues he performed well, like defending the border, or keeping the economy up, or help withdrawing the military out of the Middle East. Thinking Trump did a good job shouldn't be seen as hateful or bad. About the Ukraine situation. Since the fall of the wall, it was understood by most world leaders that the most east of Europe should serve as a bridge between the Western countries and Russia. That was especially the case with Ukraine, because it is so close to the main cities of Russia. The non-partisanship of Ukraine needed to be guaranteed by not joining the European Union and NATO. Russia has warned repeatedly that if this were to happen, there needed to be response with military force. Combined with the fact that Russian people being oppressed in Ukraine since Zelensky took office, who asked Russia to come to their aid, I can see how Russia has no other choice. Siding with Russia on this issue doesn't mean you're pro-war, but it probably means you think people are being lied to about why Russia had to go to war. I'm not saying that you have to believe any of this, but know that there are valid reasons to hold this position. And about vaccinations. Vaccinations in general has brought us salvation from the tyranny of nasty viruses. But the most recent one has some strong caveats. First of all, it has not been properly tested. It has simply not been in use for long enough to know what the long-term effects are. A very concerning fact is that this vaccination has become mandatory in many places to participate in social activities, if not outright required. The most scary part is that a passport is made to keep track of your vaccination status. This is a precursor to the social credit system as China has already implemented. Speaking out against these tyrannical agendas should, in my opinion, be possible. With that out of the way, let's get back to the responses. First are those that were ideologically driven themselves to ban Illinois, often replying with the before mentioned topics: homophobia, ableism, Trump support, Putin support, and war, and vaccination status. When pressed on the facts that these were just political opinions and/or mischaracterizations, a common thing to hear was that people like that are not welcome in this community, or this person has said X on Twitter so it's justified to ban him. Personal ban versus ban on modded channels. I wanted to clarify that there can be personal reasons to pursue bans. If you were personally involved with the Pride project and saw Illinois make that remark, maybe you would want to ban Illinois, or when you heard something that had to do with politics you don't like. If you personally came across it and made that decision consciously, I think it's stupid, but I can understand it. Making this decision for other people who are not even aware and might not even agree with this ban is something completely different. Even to the point where previously Illinois had good contact with some of the people he was banned on, and one mod happy to cherry-pick social media posts to enforce a bad view of Illinois was enough to change that. Naxandria's reasons. My interest in Naxandria came with an incident in Scarzo's stream, where someone was called Evo Gay and went into the Ice Beginner server of Evo. At first instance, looking at this, it seems like impersonating as Evo is bad, right? Especially with that name? I would think so, but Scarzo had this to say.
No, not fake Evo tags, it's homophobic shit. I am not, like, if I see that in the server, I'm absolutely perma-banning.
This struck me as weird, so I decided to follow up on this line of reasoning with asking if immediately banning for using the word gay is appropriate.
Yeah, exactly. He's involving Evo into what he's trying to say, which is really fucking rude.
The whole time, Naxandria was actively participating in this ban hunt. Later I realized he modded a bunch of channels and was responsible for banning Illinois on some of them. So I wanted to ask why. He said it was about bigotry, but when I followed up, what that meant, he didn't want to discuss this, so these bans will be without appeal. Tatana's call to cancel. In my research, I came across Tatana's Twitter posts and video of a stream about the incident, and what he had to say in full is a bit much to cover in this video, so I'll hold myself to the worst offenses. We begin with the framing. During the video of the stream, he made references to Illinois being weird, evasive, toxic, really bad, crazy, and some others. These are all meant to paint a bad picture of Illinois. There's also political stuff, like Trump supporter, conspiracy theories being against woke culture, and so on. Good to mention too that Illinois had posted stuff about the Proud Boys being falsely accused, and even the DOJ of the USA documents confirmed that. Then there were the falsehoods, like being accused of not wanting the world to move forward, wants things to be the way they were a decade ago, stating twice that Illinois was mocking a Cup of the Day map by having said the word in his knockout party. But the worst part of it is the call to cancel.
Just to conclude my line of thought here, I honestly think you should blacklist Illinois. It's not the type of people we need in this community. Especially when they try to stir shit up like they...
This baffled me when I saw it, especially when it was followed up with similar calls on Twitter, where others were motivated to report Illinois. So I went to ask questions to Tatana himself and got a big response back detailing the case he made on stream and on Twitter. Most of it is irrelevant, so I won't go into detail, but it ends with a friendly note about being happy to provide more information if needed. I sought to respond to the claims he made in his post, and the difference in the response to that was clear. Way shorter and immediately stating with not wanting to discuss it further. He also stated that I don't do a good job at staying objective and keeping biases out. A chat with Nacho. Because many people used the tweets that Nacho put out, went personally to Illinois' stream, and Tatana seemed to be referring to this person being good. I wanted to ask about if the claims that were made were accurately portraying what I got out of it. I couldn't foresee what this person would put me in connections with. The bad guys from WW2, publicly on Twitter. This didn't really faze me. Better yet, it proved my point. I could go further into the DMs, but nothing of value was gained besides confirming that this person was ideologically driven. The response from this ranged pretty wide, from people condemning insulting people just like that, as well as Scarzor, for example, sticking up for me both in reaction to the individual tweets, as well as providing a tweet longer, detailing the case of the harassment of the far edges of this community. This is worth a read, and please take this into consideration when I'm critical of Scarzor's actions in the rest of the video. Interactions with Scarzor. When Illinois was banned from many channels, one of the people he had good connection with was Scarzor. Well, just a few days before he was chatting and having fun, while Illinois played the SIT campaign. I also made videos about the SIT myself. When Allan sought contact, he first pointed out how he got a lot of big bans. Then he talked about how he would not let this go and that this could blow up in Scarzor's face. He also talked about how Nacho attacked him on stream and that he didn't see this coming at all. Scarzor responded that Allan should not make threats, while I see none. I have not seen any threat that he has made. He further mentioned that homophobia in the EVO Discord was the main reason for the ban. Other than that, being a Trump, Putin and war supporter was something Scarzor didn't want to be linked with. Then he again asks to keep threats away from Illinois and that Illinois should take his name out of everything he is going to support, or he is going to have to take measures. So when I heard that last bit, I assumed it was about using his name anywhere, like even playing his maps or not being allowed to feature his maps. But Scarzer later clarified it was about not using his name in response to this incident. Take that however you want. The interactions with Scarzer I had on this topic began with him contacting me about contact I had with Chris92. This person has previously publicly asked how this person, Illinois, could be officially reported, so I want to ask why. According to Scarzer, there was conversation about what I had communicated and he saw fit to come to me about it. This apparently was something in the Evo Discord. Seeing as I did hang out in a lot of his streams and we regard ourselves as friends, I think, he began with the standard stuff I heard about Illinois, like targeting homosexuals and transgenders, but also coming with the argument that big streamers had already banned him, so there must be a reason. I can't show much screenshot material about this because Scarzer insisted on using Dutch as our language. Even after explaining why I prefer English for this conversation, I can give a brief summary though, where Scarzer felt offended by Illinois and he did not apologize, so Illinois should not be unbanned from his channel. Especially after disturbing an Evo event Scarzer worked on. I personally fundamentally disagreed with him, but he allowed me the opportunity to state my case, agreed that seeking information shouldn't be frowned upon, and as previously mentioned, went out of his way to condemn Nacho for Twitter behavior and in general the follow the herd mentality. And then Symptom banned Illinois from the Ice Gang Discord. Just when the winds seemed to calm down, Symptom decided to ban Illinois from the Ice Gang Discord. As a response of this, Scarzer had this to say.
That is nice. Also a Symptom. Good shit yesterday, man. Let's not talk about it, but good shit. I support you, man. Yeah, it's really good the way you responded, man.
I wanted to ask Symptom about why the ban happened, but no cigar. He discussed it with Illinois and wouldn't go into it further. He did insist that if a person is banned from several channels, it's not just for cancel culture. I happened to have the direct messages from Illinois about what has been discussed, and from everything I could extract, it was about that you can't say anything if you have influence, the fact it could harm the atmosphere, having Illinois if he has an important place in the community, lots of people are against him, and seeing things that are really not cool without linking them, and so on. The most frustrating part is that the conversation ends with that it was legitimate. Illinois has to change his way of thinking and that he has to be careful because the reputation that you have outside of TM can influence the game. I'd like you to reflect on that last sentence. Interactions with Buckley. At first I saw Buckley posting this in the Jnic Discord, which immediately piqued my interest. The fact happens to be that we hang out in similar chats and decided to have a little fun. And then I got a reaction I didn't expect, one filled with anger. I wanted to make a joke out of it, but then he left. I later found out that he modded very popular channels like Untitled and Jnic, Majiji and LuckersTurbo. Eventually others like Scarzer would use this as an argument to keep him banned. Good reason to talk about it with him. Before I could do that, he actually came to me. He reacted to Nacho calling me an N-word sympathizer and decided to tell me why he was banned. The foremost reason was because he was weird. He also sent a few messages from Virtual's chat that Allan brought politics in, so he got banned. Lastly, he also mentioned that he self-promoted. But it wasn't ban-worthy in and of itself, so take that as you will. This is all on top of a general attitude of being able to ban someone just because you want to. This attitude is not new and I have seen it multiple times. Modding can be a way to enforce unwritten and personal social rules, instead of fostering a community that is free to express itself. One screenshot stood out. One promoting a cool map named 4807 V2. And his Twitter was linked as well. Not too weird to ban someone for self-promotion, I guess, so I went to Illinois with it. He stated that this was a very old message, and looking at when he made a video about it, which was 9 months ago, it seemed to be true, so I went back to Buckley asking him to confirm it's an old message. But he told me that he was banned for being weird and cringe, and he would probably not be unbanned anyway, so I should just give up. So, what next? Many people seem to be involved in policing what is and isn't allowed in their communities. Although this is many, there are many more that aren't, and I think the bigger community is kept out of these decisions. Therefore I ask, should removing people from the community like this be allowed? Or should we say that this is not okay and mass banning like this should not happen in this community? I have been in contact with Nadea over this, and they have a very clear policy around harassment. It absolutely doesn't matter who it is they harass and for what reason, because there is no excuse for that behavior. Usually when you think harassment, you think someone getting in someone else's face and getting confrontational. However, actively campaigning to get people removed from a community through socials or in-game rather than reporting can be considered harassment. It doesn't really matter if it's calling out a nation for its authoritarian freezing bank accounts to stop protests, or critiquing nations for choosing weakness radiating military officers in a colorful way, or it's spreading info about how the Proud Boys organization was infiltrated by the Department of Justice and found no evidence of supporting violence, or uses sexuality in the description of a virus because it generally only spreads through that community to make a point about the media instilling baseless fear. And I bet you can find a lot more of that kind of stuff. In the end, I have not found any ill intent from Illinois anywhere, unless it was believed or maliciously perceived. I had a lot of hesitation to make this video, mostly because I don't like upsetting people over what seems like an isolated incident with multiple grey tones. It is, however, more common every day to see this behavior, and I even learned of more instances of players harassing. I just felt it needed to be called out and discussed in the open, instead of mods silently enforcing their ideology. And I would be lying if I said I didn't do it because I regard Illinois as my friend who needed to be heard out. But no one deserves this treatment in my eyes. Thank you all for watching. I hope you are now informed of what happened in this community, and maybe, if you agree, if you see this behavior somewhere else, call it out.